Hey guys, Brad here, and today I'm going to be talking about two strategies that you can use in your marketing to both convert prospects into paying patients as well as be able to create more trust with them. So in any business transaction, there's always one side that has more to lose than the other. And in the case of therapy, the prospect has to entrust that your skill sets are adequate enough to be able to help them. And ultimately, they need to be able to be willing to invest both their time, their money, and ultimately their health in you. So that's a lot of responsibility for us. And your services realistically are intangible compared to being able to go out and buy a new TV that you can use right away. Often prospects have used services before or have preconceptions about what physiotherapy might be, what massage therapy might be, and so on. And if they've had a bad experience in the past, that only makes it even more of a challenge to be able to get that prospect to be converting into a paying patient, especially at a premium, and follow through on a specific plan of care. One way that we've had success in overcoming the fears of the prospect and being able to level out the amount of risk that is involved in the transaction is simply offering a risk reversal on our services. The easiest way to get a paying new patient is to make them an offer that they can't resist, guaranteeing them a specific result that they absolutely want, need, and can't live without, all while removing the barrier to entry to get them to start. When you include a risk reversal component in your offer stating that if they don't get the results that they want and they follow through on everything that they were supposed to do in terms of being actively involved, then you're the one who will take the loss, not them. This will both create trust and over delivers on your services, showing to the prospect that you take things seriously and are invested in both their health and their outcomes. The second strategy you can use is an NLP process called future pacing. This is a process that takes people forward to an experience and what their life will be like once they get the results from your service. Keep in mind, you're not really selling a service. You're selling a result, an outcome, and the probability of success. So let's say I'm selling physiotherapy service to help overcome your low back pain so you can get back to running. I would paint a future for you where you're simply able to strap a pair of shoes on and begin your run around your favorite path, all without low back pain, and more importantly, without the fear that you're going to have low back pain at a different time, during, or maybe the next day. Do you see what I'm saying? You want to take your prospect forward to what it'll be like once they've got that desired outcome. Then tie it in with a risk reversible with what we just talked about in order to make your offer completely solid. If your prospect says, it certainly sounds good, but what if X doesn't happen? You can easily respond, well, if you follow through with our plan of care and are active in the process, whatever terms you had laid out for them to be successful, and you don't get the result, I'll give you X back. And that might be money. You might work with them for an extra session or two to get a specific result, refer them to someone else, whatever makes the most sense for your business and the outcomes. Most health practice owners that I work with immediately worry about the what ifs and assume that every patient will want a refund if they instill this policy. So my question to you is, if you believe in your services and you're able to actually get the outcomes that you've outlined in the first place and have been marketing and doing presentations on or whatever it might be, then why would you ever be concerned? If anything, providing risk reversal sets you apart from competition and states, I stand behind my services and am adamant about getting results for my patients. So in some scenarios, there are specific actions that need to be explained and agreed upon ahead of time in order for the new patient and the prospect to understand the process to qualify for the potential refund or working with them longer, whatever it is, of the risk reversal. So they need to be actively involved in this process as well. So for example, what we do is we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on our personal training trials. And in order to qualify for a refund, the client would need to meet with us or the manager, for example, and we need to be able to go through their history and say, did they come in for the 12 sessions or the frequency that we agreed upon? Did they follow through on the nutrition component? Did they do A, B, and C, whatever it is that you've included into your package as well? So what this really does is it allows us to give a little bit more clarity, as well as the patient needs to understand that they're actively need to be involved in this process as well. So you can kind of set up the program however it makes the most sense, but ultimately, a new patient needs to understand that they might need to do homework for whatever reason, or they need to, be more vigilant in coming in for the recommended frequency. So if you're telling someone to come in 3 times a week, they need to come in for that 3 times a week. Otherwise, they can't expect to get a different outcome. So these are two main things, both using future pacing, taking your prospect or new patient to a point of what it's going to be like when they can actually do the thing that they are limited from doing, so they don't have to worry about dealing with the pain and frustrations that they've been having. And then couple that with a risk reversal component where it simply levels the playing field. So if they don't get a specific result and they've been actively involved and so on, then you're able to balance it out a little bit more so they feel like they're not losing. So these are two main components that really do help differentiate you from the competition. And if your service is really, really good and you're able to get those results, you shouldn't have any problems. In our history of the past 2 years, for example, at the gym clinic area, we've only had 2 times where we've given refunds back, and both of those were because we messed up. One time was the trainer who was going in, the PTA, physical therapy assistant, was late continuously for the sessions. So we said, no problem. We gave them a refund back on those. It was ultimately our fault, and that client is still a active member. And the second scenario was we actually didn't book the person in on time. It was through a holiday period, and we actually didn't get the person booked in, so it was our fault as well. In both scenarios, we ended up retaining those clients. We took a little bit of hit, but not a really big deal. At the end of the day, it helped us tighten up our services. So I hope that this video was helpful for you on being able to incorporate those two strategies and being able to differentiate yourself from the competition and ultimately giving better service to retain your clients. Thanks.